Today is the third year mark of installing this grid tie solar. That's rated at 1920 watts for these panels. It's kind of a cloudy morning. I don't think it'll be generating much right now. But we'll take a look at what we got so far for the 3 years. I guess in the cloudy conditions we're getting 223 watts. But for the total for 3 years, we got 8,130 kilowatt hours. And the rate for electric here is 12 cents a kilowatt hour. And I figured out we saved about $975 so far since the installation of this. And I figured that was about maybe paid for 46% of the cost of installation. So we're looking at a little over 6 years to pay for itself. But I always figure that I'm just saving by having it. Saved $975 so far. And this is a typical winter day. Lots of cloudy weather, it seems like, this year. Winter. It's cold. And I don't think we'll be getting much sun for the greenhouse today either. Cloudy and cold this morning. It's about 14 degrees. We'll go see what we got going on in here. And this is the entrance. And into the greenhouse. These are those tomatoes we transplanted from the outdoor garden. And they took off after we got in here. They started blossoming and started producing some more little tomatoes. This is the dried stuff from before. But we are getting some more new tomatoes starting. And I planted a couple potatoes out here too. That's what you see growing here. And I planted a couple carrots here too. Test them out. This one down here is growing, but not very good. I don't think it's getting enough light. It's too close to the wall. And the angle of the sun now, I think, is just passing by it. But the ones out further, they're starting to grow. This straw really helps keep the soil moist. I pulled out that pepper plant and I put a potato in its spot. That started growing, but now the tomatoes are overshadowing it. And the temperature in here this morning is, get it straight on, maybe about 55 degrees. And like I said, it's about 14 degrees outside. So I wasn't in here yesterday, but we had some sun. And I think it would probably got up to maybe 80 degrees. So this is a heat radiating back into the greenhouse from yesterday. And I do have the boiler now hooked up to the PEX tubing and to the chimney. So I can fire this up and warm it up in here when I need to. And just that same circulating pump that I was using before when I was testing it. I didn't wire this greenhouse. All I got is a extension cord plugged in to that outlet in there. And I just run the extension cord over here. And this isn't completely the final way it's going to be hooked up because I'm doing some experimenting too. Not only do I want to be able to heat the floor up with the radiant heat from the PEX tubing, I also want to be able to heat the room up too, the air. So I'm experimenting with some other steam tubing and hot water tubing above ground. We do get some heat coming off the body of the stove, and that will heat it up in here too, but I want to get a little bit more. I just started this boiler up to warm it up in here a little bit, maybe get it up to at least 70. It's going pretty hot right now. Be careful I don't get it too hot. Testing it out again. I was having some problems with these stainless steel fittings leaking. I had Teflon tape on there and I took them all off. I used some different goop, but almost looks like I still have a little bit of a drip there. And then I just noticed, looks like I got another little drip up here somewhere. Yeah, looks like there's a little drip right there. Now maybe it'll seal up. But right now I got it circulating down through the PEX tubing. All the heat right now is circulating down through the PEX. Otherwise I can circulate some up through here into there. I can adjust how much I want going through here. And I'll rig up something like a radiator out here so I get some, warm the air up and circulate that heat out through the room that way too. Right now it's just going through the PEX tubing. Pretty warm, and this PEX tubing expands and contracts, and maybe I should have used some metal, some copper there instead of this PEX, because this keeps expanding and contracting. But before Thanksgiving, we had 2 weeks of cloudy, cold winter weather where the temperatures got to the single digits outside and lots of wind. And because we didn't have any sun shining in here, the temperatures slowly dropped over the days. And the coolest it got in here was about 44 degrees for 1 or 2 nights. Yeah, what 1 or 2 nights it got to 44. But even though it was cloudy, we would still pick up a little bit of heat during the day, so it raised the temperature up a little bit more. And then that was all before I had the boiler hooked up. I could have used it then, but it didn't seem to affect the plants any. The tomatoes didn't seem to affect them, and the potatoes still grew. Then when Thanksgiving came around, just this past weekend, we had lots of sunshine, and it would kick the temperature up in here to well over 80 degrees. But we never tended to try to grow tomatoes in the wintertime. We're going to stick to the root vegetables and maybe some lettuce and spinach, but we never intended to have tomatoes growing in the middle of winter. But they seem to be doing all right. I'll see what happens in the deep winter months that are coming up. January and February are usually the coldest months here. But if the sun does shine then, I think it will kick it up in here pretty good, the temperature wise. Last year, I don't remember, I don't think it ever even got to freezing in here. It might have got close, but I don't think we had any freezing weather. But I remember at least in March, beginning of March, if we had some sunshine, it would kick the temperature up to about 80 degrees in here. So we'll see what happens this winter, and we'll keep in touch. Thanks for watching.